Tensions are rising in the waters of the Americas, where some of the most formidable warships are under the vigilant watch of Chinese vessels. This situation is not merely a coincidental encounter. It represents a multifaceted confrontation that encompasses military might, cutting-edge technology, and the complexities of international law. What transpires in these high-stakes scenarios when a Chinese reconnaissance ship monitors a US Navy carrier group? Join us as we explore this intriguing and significant subject. When the radar system aboard an American aircraft carrier detects an unidentified vessel, a series of meticulously planned protocols are set into motion. The primary objective of the crew is to ascertain the identity of the approaching ship and evaluate its intentions. Utilizing state-of-the-art radar systems and powerful optical lenses, they swiftly collect data regarding the vessel's size, speed, and course. Advanced radar technologies, such as the APY-1, are capable of detecting and tracking multiple targets over a distance of 115 miles, providing the crew with sufficient time to analyze the situation and formulate an appropriate response. Additionally, radar, electro-optical, and infrared sensors offer visual confirmation of the ship, even under challenging visibility conditions, simultaneously. The carrier's communications team promptly initiates contact on international frequencies to request the unidentified vessel's identification. The message is conveyed in a clear and professional manner. This is a US Navy vessel conducting lawful operations in international waters. Please identify yourself and state your intentions. Should the vessel be confirmed as a Chinese reconnaissance ship, the nature of the exchange becomes increasingly delicate, yet the US Navy remains composed. A Chinese vessel has been identified in proximity to a United States aircraft carrier, which is currently engaged in lawful operations within international waters. We kindly request that you maintain a safe distance and refrain from any actions that could be perceived as hostile. This initial communication is of considerable importance, as it reaffirms the presence of the United States, clarifies its intentions, and establishes a channel for dialogue, all while emphasizing professionalism and compliance with international maritime law. The crew is proficient in multiple languages, including Chinese, and utilizes standardized phrases and protocols from the Code for Unplanned Encounters at CQs to reduce the likelihood of misunderstandings as communication progresses. The carrier's advanced sensor systems are fully operational. Radar operators meticulously monitor the movements of the reconnaissance vessel, while electronic warfare specialists scrutinize signals from radar emissions and communication frequencies to evaluate its capabilities and intentions. The carrier's electronic warfare system, such as the AN SLQ-32, is capable of detecting, identifying, and, if necessary, jamming the radar and communication systems of potential adversaries, thereby providing a comprehensive electronic overview to identify various types of vessels and assess potential threats. To enhance their observational capabilities, the carrier may deploy the E-2 Hawkeye early warning aircraft. These aerial assets are equipped to detect and track multiple targets both on land and in the air over extensive distances, ensuring that the carrier group remains vigilant and prepared against any unforeseen developments. Other vessels equipped with advanced sensors not only safeguard the ships but also deliver essential intelligence. Please share your insights in the comments section below. Maintaining vigilance and control during confrontations is a vital component of the US Navy's strategy, aimed at protecting its forces while also reinforcing its presence and influence on the international seas. In complex maritime situations, the E-2 Hawkeye aircraft characterized by its distinctive rotating dome radar, is capable of monitoring hundreds of targets simultaneously over a distance of up to 350 nautical miles. Its ability to coordinate with fighter jets and surface vessels renders the Hawkeye an indispensable asset in managing intricate maritime scenarios. Intelligence experts aboard the aircraft carrier meticulously analyze the gathered data, comparing it with established information regarding the capabilities of the Chinese Navy to identify any unusual signs or emerging technologies that may indicate shifts in tactics or capabilities. They utilize advanced software to cross-reference the characteristics of reconnaissance vessels with a database of known ship types, paying close attention to any modifications or upgrades that may suggest improved surveillance capabilities or new weaponry. Importantly, the US Navy gathers this intelligence in accordance with international law, ensuring a clear distinction between lawful observation and provocative actions. Even in the presence of Chinese vessels, reconnaissance vessels may create a sense of unease. However, they do not impede the primary mission of the United States Navy, whether engaged in freedom of navigation operations, participating in joint exercises with Allied forces, or patrolling international waters. The carrier group remains resolute in its objectives. This demonstrates a clear assertion that the US Navy will not be intimidated or diverted from its lawful operations on the high seas. Nonetheless, the carrier group may implement subtle modifications to its activities as necessary. Certain sensitive operations might be delayed or executed in a manner that diminishes their intelligence value for the observing reconnaissance vessel. For example, if the carrier group intends to conduct a missile defense drill, it may adjust the timing or location to limit the data that the Chinese ship can gather. Similarly, they can modify their electronic emissions by employing emission control procedures to restrict the information detectable by the reconnaissance vessel's sensors. Collaboration with allies is also vital. Typically, US aircraft carriers do not operate in isolation, but are accompanied by vessels from allied nations, particularly in sensitive regions such as the South China Sea. The presence of Chinese reconnaissance ships adds complexity to these multinational operations, necessitating effective communication among allied vessels. The US aircraft carrier, acting as the flagship, leads the coordination of the response and may designate specific roles for the participating ships. Naval vessels are deployed to observe the reconnaissance ship, while other units proceed with scheduled exercises. For instance, during the April 2024 event, the USS Harper Ferry operated in conjunction with ships from the Philippines and France. This multinational presence signifies a unified stance among US allies in the region, thereby complicating China's surveillance efforts. Allied vessels also play a crucial role in intelligence collection by dispersing and monitoring from various perspectives, which provides a more detailed understanding of the reconnaissance ship's operations. This collaborative strategy not only improves situational awareness but also highlights the strength and unity of the alliance. The US Navy's capability to coordinate effectively with allied navies is a notable advantage, and regular drills, such as the annual Balakatan exercise with the Philippines, ensure that allied forces can function efficiently together in high-pressure scenarios. Before proceeding, I would like to encourage you to subscribe to our Navy Power channel to stay updated on engaging content regarding the US Navy and to honor the veterans who have consistently supported us. Now, let us return to the subject of international law and freedom of navigation, particularly the encounters between US aircraft carriers and Chinese reconnaissance vessels within the framework of international maritime law and the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, often referred to as the Constitution of the Seas. The ocean framework delineates the rights and responsibilities of nations regarding the utilization of the world's oceans. Effective since 1994, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, specifies maritime zones and the corresponding rights which encompass the freedoms of navigation and scientific research in international waters. According to UNCLOS, all vessels, including military ships, are entitled to innocent passage through the territorial seas of coastal states. This right also extends to exclusive economic zones, EEG, MR, which may reach up to 200 nautical miles from a nation's coastline. The operations of the U.S. Navy in the South China Sea, including the deployment of carrier strike groups, are grounded in the principle of freedom of navigation. This principle, acknowledged by UNCLOS, permits vessels to navigate freely through international waters and EEG. However, China's interpretation of these regulations has led to considerable tensions. China asserts sovereignty over a significant portion of the South China Sea, surpassing the boundaries recognized by international law. It has developed artificial islands and military installations in contested regions, thereby challenging established notions of maritime rights. China's claims are based on the so-called 9-dash line, an ambiguous boundary that encompasses nearly 90% of the South China Sea. This assertion overlaps with the EEG of several other nations, including the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei. The United States, along with numerous other countries, disputes China's extensive claims by conducting regular freedom of navigation operations, FONOPs. Through these actions, the U.S. Navy reaffirms its commitment to upholding international maritime law, the rights of all nations to navigate freely through these waters, including the deployment of warships within 12 nautical miles of structures claimed by China, underscore the United States' refusal to acknowledge these areas as Chinese sovereign territory. Freedom of navigation operations are meticulously planned and executed to contest excessive maritime claims while adhering to international law. Typically, these operations involve U.S. warships following a designated route through contested waters, accompanied by public statements that clarify the objectives of the mission. The close observation of U.S. aircraft carriers by Chinese reconnaissance vessels reflects a broader legal and strategic contest. While such surveillance activities are not explicitly forbidden by international law, they contribute to an environment of increased tension and mistrust. Notably, although the United States strongly supports the principles of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, it has not ratified the treaty due to domestic political factors. Nevertheless, the U.S. considers many of UNCLOS's provisions to be customary international law and adheres to them. From a political standpoint, the ongoing interactions between U.S. aircraft carriers and Chinese reconnaissance ships hold significant implications beyond immediate tactical scenarios, signaling a shift in the global balance of power, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region, where both the U.S. and China are competing for influence. The United States Navy has maintained its position as the preeminent force in the Pacific for many years, with carrier strike groups symbolizing American military strength. However, China's expanding naval capabilities, particularly the growth of its surveillance fleet, pose a direct challenge to this supremacy. China's naval modernization initiative has progressed rapidly and is extensive. In addition to reconnaissance vessels such as the Tianwangxing, China is actively developing aircraft carriers, advanced destroyers, and submarines at a remarkable rate. This military enhancement aligns with China's overarching goal of establishing itself as the foremost military power by 2049, coinciding with the centennial of the People's Republic of China. The interactions between aircraft carriers and reconnaissance ships also serve as opportunities to evaluate new technologies and tactics, with both the United States and China utilizing these encounters to gather intelligence on each other's capabilities, ranging from electronic warfare systems to operational procedures. For example, the close proximity of the Tianwangxing Allied vessels during the April 2024 exercises may have yielded significant information regarding electronic signals and the operational behaviors of those ships. Likewise, US forces can gain insights into China's surveillance tactics and capabilities through these confrontations. Looking ahead, the frequency and nature of these interactions are likely to evolve. The development of naval strategy and international maritime law is likely to be influenced by the actions of China as it continues to assert its territorial claims, while the United States seeks to preserve its influence. This dynamic raises ongoing concerns regarding the potential for miscalculations or heightened tensions. It is crucial to undertake efforts aimed at reducing these tensions and fostering trust between the two naval forces. Initiatives such as the Code for Unplanned Encounters at Sea, which has been endorsed by Pacific nations, including the United States and China, establish protocols for communication and conduct during unexpected encounters at sea. However, the effectiveness of these protocols in high-stress situations remains uncertain. Additionally, the United States and China have implemented the Maritime Military Consultative Agreement, MMCA, to address maritime safety concerns. Although these discussions have had limited success in alleviating tensions, they remain a vital means of communication between the two navies. Ultimately, these interactions reflect the broader strategic rivalry between these two dominant global powers, which is playing out across the expansive Pacific region. The outcome of this competition will have significant implications for the global order and the balance of power in the 21st century, as illustrated by the interactions between US carrier groups and Chinese reconnaissance vessels in the vast Pacific waters. The interactions we have examined are not solely focused on communication, technology, and legal frameworks. They embody a multifaceted geopolitical contest. What are your perspectives on the future of this rivalry? Are there viable solutions to reduce the risk of escalation amid increasing tensions? The United States Navy consistently demonstrates professionalism in its responses to these scenarios, upholding freedom of navigation and fostering close collaboration with allies, which reflects a comprehensive strategy that is both resolute and cautious. In contrast, China's growing readiness to monitor and surveil US Navy operations signifies its escalating confidence and ambitions on the global stage. As tensions fluctuate in the South China Sea and other regions, these naval encounters are poised to continue influencing the strategic dynamics of the Indo-Pacific area. They underscore the fragile equilibrium necessary for sustaining peace and stability in an evolving global power landscape. Addressing these maritime disputes necessitates not only military readiness, but also adept diplomatic engagement, adherence to international law, and a commitment to finding common ground among the involved parties. As global citizens, it is imperative that we remain informed about these developments and comprehend their potential implications for global security and prosperity. Do you believe that the naval encounters between the United States and China will foster a more stable understanding. The question remains whether the relationship between the two nations will improve or if tensions will continue to escalate. We invite you to share your opinions in the comments section below. If you found this video informative and enjoyable, please remember to like it and subscribe to our Navy Power channel for more engaging content regarding the US Navy. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we eagerly anticipate your return. Additionally, do not forget to click the bell icon to stay updated on our upcoming videos.